to be here. So let's just take a second and chat about how we originally met and what was going on before we started the coaching sessions, and where you were and how you kind of got there and where you are after the fact.
Okay.
First off, let's start off with who you are.
Karen Angus.
Karen Angus?
Yes.
What do you do?
I am a locksmith and owner of a locksmith company in Hawaii.
Okay. That's awesome. I'm jealous, as I was just there vacationing and I wish I lived there.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's been pretty hot considering we're Hawaii, but yeah, not compared with the mainland. I see what's going on over there.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
It is.
So a couple of months ago, you had a series of things kind of compound and land on you and brought you to a place that was a little difficult to get through. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually I made a move. I had to move my office and my home. And in that move, we had moved to an area where there was no reception at all. I was getting no calls. I had to go through, it was actually 8 months that I went through these problems, trying to fix them, trying to get phone lines, trying to get service up there, trying to change my cell phone company. And it dragged on for a while, but once I got the phones in and you gave me some good ideas for, getting back business, because I had lost a lot of business that meantime, because people were calling my line. It was dead, or it was saying it was disconnected. Even regulars I had to contact afterwards because, my phone was telling it was disconnected, and it wasn't. It just wasn't forwarding.
Right. So you had that. And then, so you've got issues with work, and you pride yourself a lot on your work and your work ethic.
Yep.
So this is devastating to you. Your business is not doing well. Then
I had no business at that point.
Nothing.
I had nothing.
Right.
Every day I got up, tears came out of my eyes. I knew exactly what was going on for that day. Nothing.
Oh my goodness.
Except for the things I was doing to work to fix it. But it's very hard when you're working to fix something. Once you start seeing the changes, it's okay. But the interim was devastating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I could see a lot of your posts and just, day after day, I was seeing these things compounding for you. And what I do is I'm Wayne, and I have the Community Coach Workshop program, and I have my own coaching program called the 10% Experience. And for every person or every client, every paying client that comes through, I try and give back, because I know there's a lot of people out there who need help. And sometimes the people who need the help the most are the ones that are in a bad position. They can't really afford it at that time anyways. So I always make sure that we take care of our main core people and the people that do pay. And then I also reserve one spot for somebody to just volunteer services who I just see that needs help, and I reach out and I try and help that person. And I saw day after day you were just kind of spiraling, just
because every day I hoped to get up and it would be different, and yet we woke up at the same crap.
How strong you are as a woman to be able to pick yourself up, because you had nobody to lean on. You didn't have a bunch of family members. You didn't have a lot of stuff to do to really try and counteract that. You didn't have people dropping by and, checking in on you. And I picked up on all these things, and I tried to say, hey, here's a person who really needs help, and they just don't know how to ask for it right now. What can I do to help this situation? And I'm really glad that I did, because tell us about now how things worked out. Like, walk us through that process.
Okay, first, I do want to point out that, yes, I appreciate you reaching out to me, because I've been on my own since I was 16. I don't ask people for help. I've never asked people for help. Even when I was losing my business, with the small family members I had left, nobody knew. I didn't go and ask anybody for anything. I've always done everything on my own. And let's talk about now. Now my business is back being steady. I'm happy again because I'm doing what I love. And, there are still slow days, but there were slow days before. The difference in the slow days now and the slow days then are, I didn't panic last time. Now I get a little bit on edge, but in the back of my mind, I calm myself. I know, tomorrow may be very busy, and that's the way it goes. Some days I have days I can barely keep up. Other days, there's slower days, but there's always going to be slower days. It just has a different effect on me now. It's like a PTSD thing.
Right.
If it gets slow, I start going, oh my God, what's going on? But I know in the back of my mind that I had slow days before too.
So that's
So,
one of the things that we worked on is some of those coping skills so that
right,
you know, hey, maybe we just had a bad day today. And just because we had a bad
exactly.
day today, and it doesn't mean that tomorrow's going to be a slow day. And you can always look back. And I've told you this 1,000 times. If you can get through the things that you've gotten through in life to
Yeah.
get you here and now today, there is nothing that can come down the pipeline that's going to throw you off track. I mean, everybody has good days and bad days, but at the end of the day, you now have the core tools to just power through any of that stuff and just show how strong and independent of a woman you are.
That definitely helped because, like I said, it's become like a PTSD thing. I'm not going to lie. The slow days, because it's a trigger from, this is not this long ago that this all happened.
I know.
So it's still a trigger that when I start getting a slow day and then I get back in my head and I'm like, you know what, you have slow days. You'll be fine tomorrow. Just remember what you learned and, it'll be okay.
Absolutely.
And it is.
Yeah.
But
No,
but
that's great.
PTSD automatically kicks in. There's nothing you can do about that, but I have to go through that calming myself.
Yep. And now you have the tools. Everybody has that. I have that when I look and open up my bank account and say, hey, I'm not doing as well as I should be here, or the phone doesn't ring for a day. I do the same thing. Everybody does. When there's something not right, anxiety is the trigger point. It's the
Absolutely.
it's like mental pain, right? It's
It
saying
is absolutely.
you need to address this. And if you don't address it and have those tools, those coping skills and those coping mechanisms to be able to calm back down so that you can address and assess and then move forward the next day with a whole fresh new attitude and opinion, that's where everything comes into play. I saw something where you were spiraling, and I've also seen people spiral so far down that then they can't get back out of bed to go back to work and do what it is that they love. They start doing self-pity and not being able to move. And I didn't want you to get to that position. So that's
I
why
was moving in that direction because I didn't know where to start. I didn't know, I was doing everything I knew to fix the business. And, it took so long. It was a long process. You try calling phone companies every day and you try calling cell phone companies every day and you're calling the person who's running your internet. And it's so overwhelming. And
yeah.
then, but if I hadn't had some tools from you to keep me afloat and keep me positive, I really could have gone down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you didn't, because look at your face right now. I mean,
I
you're
know.
smiling, you're happy.
It's a big difference.
It was a huge difference, and your face now compared to then is two totally different people. You're not even
Oh,
on
you couldn't even have talked to me then. I would have just started crying. I cried about everything because the only thing foremost and front in my mind was, how are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to keep this business alive? Because I was considering leaving here because if I didn't have this business here, the businesses are all real small over here. Trying to find somebody else to work with would have been difficult because
right.
nobody really hires anybody. Everybody keeps their business small. And I had offers to go other places, but I didn't want to. I love it here. This is my home. I love my business. I love my customers.
Yeah.
And, I was able to get that back, which a lot of people can't. I saw people, especially after COVID and everything, so many businesses failing.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I am
And
just glad to still be here and still have my company and,
yeah.
be doing what I love.
You've done an amazing job, and you're just a
Thank
real
you.
fighter. I mean, you fought for it. I didn't do anything. You earned it. You did it. You did the work and you earned it. It's just having somebody, that coach there, to keep, you kind of get off track a little bit and you want to go from point A to point B in a nice straight line, and to veer off a little bit. And all a coach does is just kind of line you back up so that you get where you want to be. And that's what has happened. You've gotten where you want to be. And I use the 10% program. We go back and we talked about some of the things in the past that led to where the situation was, where you were currently in some sessions. And then we talk about where you are currently and accepting where you are currently and the current conditions you have. And then we set those standards for what you want in your future, and we raise those standards up a little bit. And then now we talk about the future, and your future is extremely bright. You know exactly what you want. You know where you're going. You have an end result in mind. You're goal driven. And I couldn't be happier to have you as a client as well. Just know that.
I appreciate your help so much. And it wasn't all the business things you taught me, and everything we went over was amazing. But having somebody there, because I have friends that are cheerleaders, but nobody's reaching out to give me that help business wise that I needed. You can cheer me on and say, yeah, you're going to be okay. Well, my phone isn't ringing, and you saying it's going to be okay, and my phone is going to ring doesn't make it ring. There has to be steps taken towards that.
Yeah, we got.
And I really didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do at that point.
Well, and I'm just happy that it all worked out. The people see you on the Facebook groups all the time posting. You've got beautiful pictures. Hawaii is such a wonderful place, and I mean, just so amazing where you were just a couple months ago and where you are now. Is there anything that you would tell people out there? You said that, you don't tend to ask for help, and you were just in such a dark place. If you could tell yourself something, like if you could yourself now tell yourself back then something to maybe get some help or to reach out, what would you say? Or what would you say to somebody else who's in that position where you were in that dark place?
That there are people out there, because my thought always is I don't want to put my problems on somebody else. And, I don't want to put them in a position where they're having to solve something for me. But you reached out to me. And even then I was still hesitant because like I said, I've been on my own my whole life. I've taken care of myself. I've worked a full-time job since I was 16. I graduated from school then. I've done everything for myself. Even at a time when I was homeless for a little while, didn't ask anybody for help. If I had to stay in my car, I stayed in my car.
Right.
But I would say that it's okay to reach out, and it's okay to ask for help. And don't get so stuck in your head that you think there's no way out.
Right.
Because once you get in your head that bad, it's really, because it was really bad. Like I said, literally the second I would wake up in the morning, I popped my eyes open and tears would already be coming out, because I'm like, what fresh hell is it today?
Right.
With no calls.
Yeah.
So I feel great now. I'm of course I want to still grow my business, but I'm doing well, and I'm doing, I have great customers, and I love my job. I don't want to do something else.
That's great. That's great. Well, I am just so happy to see you here. I'm happy to see you in this new place. We're coming up on about 12 minutes here, which is a great testimonial. For those that don't know Karen, this was 100% offer I offered. There was no payment involved.
Nope.
I just reached out to you out of the blue. This is the charitable work that I do to give back to the community, and especially the locksmith community that is so close to my heart. I want to see these people and these small business owners survive. I want to see them make it. I want to see our trade grow, and I want to help people to make sure that they're doing that. So I'm so happy to see where you're at. And
this isn't, I don't mean to interrupt. This isn't really part of the testimonial. I'm pretty sure I told you this before, but I'm not sure if I ever did. I followed you way before I ever was in the Locksmith group. And it just happened that one day I saw the link at the bottom, like, what is this? That was life-changing in itself for me.
Yeah.
Because there are so many jobs I would never, ever would have attempted had I not had the backup of that group. Because,
yeah,
it would have been too scary.
Yeah, Locksmith Nation Facebook group is the one that you're referring to and talking about there.
Yes.
So, and just to say, there's no paid actors. You're a general person, a genuine person who is just out there. And I just saw that you needed a little bit of help and reached out. You took my hand, and now here we are. You're better than ever. You're headed where you want to go. And this is exactly what the Community Coach Workshop and the 10% program is all about. And this is what I'm all about. When I talk about personal development and coaching and business coaching and life coaching, this is what I'm talking about. Getting the help to the people that need it the most, and not making money the number one priority in this. It's actually helping the person first.
And if people think they don't need that, there's no way you could not need it. It's always going to be beneficial. but you stepped in at a really, really dark time. So for me, it was even more so than what it might have been for somebody else. It was more important to me.
Well,
And I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anytime, anytime, anytime. I'm just the greatest gift that you can give back to me is that smiling face and to be successful. That's all I want
I
to say.
know.
And it looks like you're
Thank
headed in
you.
that direction, and the ceilings, there's no ceiling anymore. You can grow as
No,
much as
there
you want.
isn't. No, I'm in a good place now.
That's great. That's great. All right. Well, thank you so much for the testimonial and the interview. Have a great day, and we'll keep
You
in touch.
too. Thanks
If
so
you need
much.
anything, reach out anytime. And anybody else who's watching this, just reach out. There's no shame in giving a phone call, sending a text
Yes.
message, and reaching out to somebody for
Don't be
something.
scared and don't be ashamed, because that was what was holding me back. Had you not reached out to me, I might not have my business anymore. So
Well,
yeah,
that means a lot.
you gotta put shame aside. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Got to
So
own it, and you can't go around it. You
exactly.
got to go through it. You got to go right through
Yes.
it. You just keep it head on, and that's what you did, and you did an amazing job. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
so much, Wayne.
Have a great
Bye.
day. Thanks.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.
We are now accepting clients at the cost of $285 per session. Please fill out an application below for a free inquiry.